Hey guys, welcome back to another OverRice video. Today we have Satu. And
Wagwan, my
if you've
brothers.
noticed, it's just us two because we will be doing this segment and it's a good format for us, specifically because we are filmmakers, we have our own idea of what we like about films. And I've always wanted to do this, like this type of segment where we celebrate films and we talk about it and maybe review sometimes, maybe even critique. And we don't have a name yet for it. And as of now, we are just calling this Film Club and like an Overrice Film Club. And yeah,
Hey,
all right, Satu, introduce yourself and how much you like about movies. What do you like about movies?
thank you. Well, it's your boy, not so pro Satu in the house. I really appreciate you including me in the notionary of filmmakers and not just outright calling us nerds. I really appreciate it, boy. That's considerate of you. But yeah, I love films. I love watching movies. I think I love consuming media, just in totality. And you and I think, have had riveting conversations about film as in depth as we can from like videographic or photographic perspective. And I think that's pretty cool and pretty fun, and also from like a script or literary perspective. And I've loved literature for the longest time, and I feel like all media is literature. I know that's not true, but I feel like all media is literature in some sort of realm or another. You can break it down through setting, characterization, theme, plot, and style.
You talked
And that's
about
something
that.
I'd love to do with you.
Hmm.
So I'm just here and happy to jump into it, my boy.
All right, so we're doing this because we want to break down a lot of the films that we have watched collectively. And throughout the years, we have been accumulating building up our knowledge for films. And so we start off this question by asking, what are your top three, like, favorite films?
Also in the comments, like, let us know what your top three favorite films are. I actually struggled to answer this question when we were talking about this before. I wondered what my favorite films were. I thought of the question like maybe from like a technical perspective or from like a storytelling perspective. Oh, should I pick something really like timeless or like really avant-garde, or should I pick something like that's just fun for me but I know is like technically a terrible film, right? And I had a couple of different answers for you. So one of my favorite films is 8 Mile, Eminem's
Okay.
movie, which is, I feel you, yeah, by your action, a little bit of an interesting one. I wouldn't say technically it's like the most amazing movie ever, nor story-wise is it really, oh my god. But it was something that really resonated with me because of how much I love hip-hop and Eminem. And it's just something that's always stayed with me. And the fact that Lose Yourself was written for that and ended up winning an Oscar just always resonated with me. How if you're so amazing in one field or in one vertical, you can see that shine in others. So that's always going to be one of my favorite films of all time. Secondly, and I don't know if this is a worthwhile answer or not, is Avatar. Not The Last Airbender, the blue people.
James Cameron. Right, yeah.
James Cameron Avatar. The reason why is the moment I watched that went like 2008, 2009, whenever it
Around
came out.
IMAX as well, right?
Yeah, I lost my goddamn mind. I'm like, holy shit, the future is here. Like Philip J. Fry waking up in the year 3000, I was like, this is the standard. And little did I know how far that they would take it. So like the visual spectacle, like I thought the story was cool too. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
At the same time, the reductive side of me was just like, oh, this is Pocahontas. You know what I mean? But again, reductive. But in totality, I really enjoyed the movie, and I thought like it was just sick to see it come to life. So I love that beyond any reasonable doubt. And
Your last one, yeah.
last but not least, I don't know whether or not this is even fair to put in here. And this is a weird list, I know this, but two movies kind of tie, just for the stupidity and enjoyment of them.
Okay.
Pootie Tang
Uh,
and the Haunted World of El Super Beast.
Okay. I was gonna say, okay. You were cooking up something, and I could see and hear the cogs in your head, like gearing up and stuff. Because I thought you were gonna say like The Room, was it Birdemic or like Sharknado?
Oh, true.
But you do like those type of like, what would you classify those, like B-list movies?
You know, I can't. Sure, there's not mockumentaries, but there's another. I've heard people use terms for these like really shit movies where you enjoy them, and
So good is bad.
I've definitely sometimes,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean. Sometimes, like, I don't know if you Pootie Tang. I wouldn't say is like bad, but it was always a comedy. I don't love it for its quality of filmmaking, but it was like a vibe to watch with friends at the time. And that's the same thing for The Haunted World of El Super Beasto, which actually, interestingly enough, Rob Zombie directed. And if you're into his
Wow.
music, you'll be into his movies or cartoons, however you want to put it. But there you go. I watched it with friends. They're both like, you're not supposed to really think about them.
Okay.
You're supposed to sit back and enjoy and watch and laugh. That's why I did, and that's kind of why those have like sentimental resonance for me.
Oh wow. Okay.
What about you, Roy? Rap with me, and as you get over the surprise of the strangeness of my list, hit me with the list that you have.
I will, but just before I get to that, would you like to give any honorable mentions? Because I'll be doing the same. Because you just said like Pootie Tang, and I was like, oh wait a minute, I have something like that, but it's not like that, I guess. But like, do you have any honorable mentions that you want like a specific shout out for? You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. Like, most nostalgic film that I didn't have a place in the top three, but maybe in like the top tens. You know what I mean?
Sure. Okay. If I had to really think about it, maybe I'd say, A Clockwork Orange is definitely up there for me.
Wow. Okay.
Even though that's a bit of a pick. And Birds by Alfred Hitchcock.
Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah.
is also
Wow.
and not Nightmare on Elm Street. Sorry, It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. A couple of different Jimmy Stewart films. Shutter by Jimmy Stewart as well.
Oh, is that the one with?
I think Hitchcock
Oh wow.
is one where he breaks his leg and he looks through a telescope to the neighbor's building
Yes,
and sees
yeah,
that his neighbor's a serial killer.
Yeah.
That one. I know these are older movies, and I don't know if that's relevant or not, but
No, that makes sense.
there was
Yeah.
like, I personally, when I watched Birds when I was a kid, right, it terrified the ever living fuck out of me because here's why. Both of them did, and that's maybe why they stuck with me. I was traumatized as a child, but I love the concept of birds. You see them everywhere; it's a very common thing. What if they were out to kill you? That is a horrifying, and it wasn't like like magical realism or anything. It was this very like, oh hey, this could like happen if maybe there was like a pandemic, which we have bird flu and shit, right? Or if there was like something in the water, they will fly down and kill you. You know what I mean? And then obviously, was it Shutter, which I think is the name of it, with Jimmy Stewart. I just remember I remember The Simpsons: The Treehouse of Horror parody of Shutter, and then I watched that, and then I watched Shutter, and then I'm like, oh shit, that is terrifying. and then not too long after, I watched Disturbia with Shia LaBeouf, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Except instead of his leg being broken, he can't leave. He's on house arrest, and he sees that his neighbor's a serial killer.
This movie, yes.
Yeah, it's a really good movie, and I was just like, I always thought about that. I'm like, man, I'm terrified. What if I look out one night and I see something? You know?
That's the thing about like, you just talked about like Disturbia and then Shutter, right? Those two are like two different pieces of art. Some could even classify as the same. That's the thing. Everyone has their own interpretation of it. As much as you said about Birds, it could have gone out of left field and be something like Birdemic. It's the same thing. I was thinking like, oh, what if birds were out to kill you? Dog, that's Birdemic. I know Birds came out like way like decades before, but Birdemic.
No, but the concept, still,
yeah.
like it's interesting to apply it in a different way.
Absolutely, yeah.
What about you though? What are your top 3 films?
Okay, I'll have to kind of give a backstory for each of them. There's no particular order. I would start with, oh wow, I'm changing my list as I go on with it. But first is The Nice Guys. So it's by Shane Black, the one who did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And so my friend got me into it, right? He was like, hey, watch this movie with me. And back then I really wasn't interested in film. And actually, to give a special shout out to him, he was the one who actually got me into film school and kind of introduced me into like this art form. And yes, I did have appreciation for films I used to watch a lot back then when I was a kid. But I think that was the one that sparked it for me. The Nice Guys was like Ryan Gosling and oh my god, I forgot his name.
Uh,
You know about it, right?
yeah,
Russell
of course,
Crowe.
of course. She's like, why did Russell
Yeah,
Crowe? Yeah,
Russell
it's like,
Crowe.
why did you throw cold coffee on me?
Yeah, yeah.
That's not what I was intending to. She's like, what does he say? It didn't work out, but I like your thinking. So I forget. It's a good movie.
Yeah,
It's a good
yeah.
movie.
And my favorite quote
And then
from
she
that was
slips and
like,
kills herself,
is-
and she's like, well, we'll take it.
yeah. There's so many good moments from that.
Yeah.
Also, by far my favorite child performance was Angori Rice, was Ryan Gosling's daughter.
Yeah,
I think that
yeah,
was really good. And by the way, the reason I like it is because it's very funny. For the longest time, I always talked about that film being my favorite. You know, I never shut up about a piece of art form, especially from a medium that I studied from. And yeah, I would say The Nice Guys was I would say it was like my number one film for a very long time. But as I've watched a lot more, it changes, right? As life goes on as well.
Understandably.
The next one was the year after that, but also a Ryan Gosling movie. It was Blade Runner 2049. That was an experience, I would say. So you know Ali, right? I know it's a bit left field, but
No, shout out to the boy Ali.
yeah, yeah. He was the one that I invited to watch this movie with me because I was a big fan of the Blade Runner series, right? The franchise rather, and I wanted to get into it, and I went to his house, and then we had a marathon. So we watched Blade Runner 1, I forgot what it was. I think it was director's cut or whatever the definitive version was on Wikipedia or whatever. Like, how many versions are there of that movie? God, just pick one. So we just picked one, and then we watched like the short films from YouTube, and then we watched the movie. And yeah, that was an experience. To say that it was like life changing is kind of an understatement. You know how people go into IMAX and then just like, oh, let's watch Interstellar. They don't know what they're getting into. Same thing with 2049. Even after going through a marathon, it really changed. I personally would say it changed my life. I can't stress enough how much that movie meant to me. Yeah, I would also say Interstellar is also one of my favorite movies. But
Wait, how did Blade Runner 2049 change your life? Because I think it's really interesting here, right? Because with the first Blade Runner, it's very clear that it's very sure it's a sci-fi
cyberpunk
fantasy, cyberpunk dystopian future sort of film. So it has a lot of interesting social commentaries. That's already well established, and that's cool. But at the end of it, it is also a philosophical.
What's the word?
Thought experiment of sorts, right? On what is the basis of humanity? What makes you?
What makes a human, right? Yeah.
And like, is that what changed your life? Like this, like how a movie can be so philosophically loaded and like make you think. Like, how did it change your life for you, Ryan?
Okay, so back then I used to watch. I watched Blade Runner, right? I didn't understand it at that time, and I was like, oh, it's good. But I'll be honest, I was a little bit of a pretentious kid. I would say it was good because people told me it was good. And I never really understood the message behind it, right? I saw Deckard being like, oh, am I a replicant or not? Like, it's like, just whatever. And then the rain scene, the one with Roy, the villain, I didn't understand it at that time. But like throughout the years of like building up this franchise and then 2049 comes out, it helped accentuate my love for Blade Runner. The reason I liked Blade Runner 2049 was because Ryan Gosling, or K, was no one.
Yeah.
He was no one. And that made me feel like I'm nothing in this world. But that, not to like, this is not a depressive, like I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to open up or anything. No.
He's just there on the steps, the snow's pouring down. You hear Mr. Kitty's, as the hours pass, I will let you know. And you're like, you know that meme, and we should insert the meme where it says, you are running out of quotations. It is what it is. Execute task, close window.
Oh, dude, it was that. By the way, that meant everything to me. Like being told, like, because it made me humble. It made me realize, like, I'm no one in this world, and that's okay because no one is like everyone is no one too, right? But you still have aspirations. You still have these goals. And the booming bridge fight with like the waves crashing onto the ship, and
it's crazy.
It was Kay and was it Love? I forgot the
I forget the female assassin's name, but her.
Yeah, she was that. watching that in cinema, I wish I could relive that again because that was probably one of the best sound experiences I've had in a film.
True.
Right, and
True. No, it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy.
yeah, and
It was. And, sorry,
Yeah,
not to
yeah,
cut you
go
off,
ahead.
but I also feel like if we, which tune in, let us know. In another episode, perhaps we should talk about how diegetic and non-diegetic sound really help to shape different scenes. Because for me, the viscerality of that scene happened because of the diegetic sounds that were present, and it was because like he's trying to save
Deckard,
Harrison. No,
Deckard,
what's the name?
Deckard.
Yeah. Harrison Ford. He's trying to save Deckard.
Yeah.
He's trying to fight off the police or whatever they're called, effectively the rich people, because that's what the allegory is there for. And all of this is so viscerally happening. You can almost feel like you're in it. You almost feel that drowning sensation that is
Yeah,
happening.
you
of the
felt the pace,
overwhelming-
right, of it all.
Yeah, you felt, and I felt that the sound contributed to it so much. But
Oh, 100%.
Sorry, not to-
Yeah, visual,
Right?
like the visual storytelling, even through audio. I think that was, I
Right?
would not say it's perfect. I wouldn't call a lot of things perfect, but that was the closest thing to perfection on screen. And
No, I get that.
it's sad that it's underrated. I'm sorry. Like now there's a lot of appreciation for it because, oh, Ryan Gosling, he's so me, right? He's just me. Like that meme kind of boomed. I love it. Ryan Gosling was my favorite actor of all time. Even before, like, he became my favorite actor from Crazy Stupid Love. And then...
Yeah, I was about to say he was really good.
He was
in that.
so
I really
funny.
enjoyed
I think he
him
was
in
the best part from it. I think, no, the cast was incredible. Anyways.
I was about to
Yeah.
say, also the writing, that was one of the few, or at least at the time, few movies that subverted my expectations.
Are you
with-
talking about
with
Crazy
the way
Stupid
that
Love?
It ended. Yeah.
Oh,
'cause
100%.
I really enjoyed how the story played out, right? And then we see, what I liked seeing was the complexity of character at that culminating scene,
Yeah.
right? The moment he's just like, no, you can't date my daughter, and so there's like conflict. But then, I forget the name of the guy that his wife, Steve Carell's wife, left him for.
Hagen, something like that.
Yeah,
Lyndon Hagen.
David Lindhagen.
David Lindhagen.
Right? The moment that Ryan Gosling sees him, there's no question about it, right? He takes off his ring, and he's like, he looks at him like a man and hits
David
him. Right?
Lindhagen.
Even though
Yeah,
yeah, and he's in beef with Steve Carell because he wants to date his daughter, obviously. But he's like, all of that doesn't matter. You hurt my best friend.
Yep,
How
okay.
dare
Yeah.
you?
And then the way he
You know?
swung at like David, that was funny. I don't know if you remember the way he swung at him. It was
Yeah, and then his hands hurting him.
Yeah, it was so
and then
good.
Obviously, what's it? They think that Steve Carell is like a weird pedophile babysitter, and then he's like having sex with the babysitter, and then the kid's like, "How could you?" And he's like, "Buddy, I didn't even know."
Dude, it was,
And
a
so
lot.
complex.
It was a lot at the same
Yeah.
time. I would say that's like top 20 for me. Like,
No, it's a
honestly.
really good movie. I really appreciated it.
But yeah,
I really appreciated the nuance.
2049.
But sorry, going back
Yeah,
to
yeah.
2049.
2049, I already talked about that too much. I could go in depth about this for so long. But
Fair enough.
my last favorite film is Your Name, or Kimi no Na wa.
Yeah, oh, boy.
That, okay, for the sole reason, but that's the only film that can make me cry properly. It's because of the soundtrack. I think
Anime does that too.
it's so good. I think visually, I forgot there's this term that just came up that I saw like a week ago. It talked about films that look like that. It's supposed to stimulate this calming feeling when you watch a movie. It's like slice of life-ish, right? But this was...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I had like so many thoughts coming into my mind right now, but I'll get back to that later. But yeah, Your Name is definitely one of my favorite films. I'd say it's my favorite anime movie of all time. That's easy.
And we're including
Akira, Silent Voice.
Spirited Away.
Okay.
What's his face is Howling Castle. I mean, there's a lot, but because that's a bold statement. I'm not hating.
Oh
on
no
it.
no no! You can
And
no, you can hate.
You're entitled.
You're
to
gonna
your
hate me.
opinion.
You're gonna
I'm just
you're
saying
gonna
that's
hate me for
impressive,
this.
you know what I mean? No, I can understand very easily
Yeah.
as to why Your Name. There's also Your Lie in April. I can understand
Oh, yeah.
why Your Name is like one of your favorites. I'm just saying that's crazy because there's like a lot of good ones. So
I know.
that's clearly very impactful for you.
I gave Spirited Away like a clear 9 out of 10. I think that's one of the more perfect films ever. And that being said, you're gonna hate me for this. I'm not just saying this because I want to like spark something during our conversation, but I've only started watching Studio Ghibli movies last year.
Oh, no, that's
Yeah.
fine.
So
What I think you should do is watch all of them. That's pretty exciting.
I will.
That
Like
just
have
means
a
you have a
marathon.
bunch of dope content to watch. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. I watched My Neighborhood Totoro. I thought it was fucking boring. I'm sorry. I know that meant a lot to a lot of people. But what the fuck happened in that movie? I'm sorry. I might not be understanding it, but like Christ, just move. Whatever. I know it's supposed to be like. I know it's supposed to be like kids having fun and like it's all in their heads and all that. Like I've seen the theories, I've seen everything, I've seen every video for it. It's like make me understand what you guys fucking love because I don't love it. Like I'm not trying to dog them down. I'd say My Neighborhood Totoro though. I watched it like 4 times already now, just to try and understand it a little bit more. Because that's not something I do. I don't like hating on things. I feel like appreciating an art form is. I feel like it's like exceptional. Like for me, that something I didn't understand, something I didn't like at first watch. I was like, oh, I don't understand it. And then I gave myself like maybe 3 months or 4 months. I don't remember, but I watched it again, and then again and again. Like now I'm trying to understand it. Like it is a little bit boring, but I'm trying to understand it. Like that's the best that I can do. Like I'll try and like it, but I really don't want to hate it. But anyways, yeah.
Wait, real quick. You know, I think that should be one of the tenets of the OverRice Movie Club. Is it's film or TV show appreciation.
Yeah.
Not I like this movie or I hate this movie. Appreciation means understanding something from a multitude of perspectives, and I think that's the most important thing because that's how you actually take something away.
Yeah.
Whether you like it, whether you dislike it, by understanding it, you actually take some of the value that it's trying to give to the wider audience.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's what we should do with this segment or with this show is try to understand things rather than just be like, yeah, that was a hot pile.
Yeah, that was dog shit. Waste of my time.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next one. Don't watch this.
I've
You know what I mean?
I've never hated a film. Like there was times where I've watched something and thought that was boring, maybe the pace wasn't right.
Yeah.
But I do see what the vision was. I watched Fan Four Stick, right? Or Fantastic Four and whenever it released.
Oh, I was like, is this a parody? Fan Force?
No, I don't like the last one with Josh Trank. I think that was the director, right? The one who did Chronicle.
Oh, I haven't seen it fair enough.
But it was really bad. But I watched it with my friends, and that was a really good experience. And we were like laughing in the cinema that time. Tony was there, and
Okay.
yeah,
Fantastic.
that's just one thing. Like I really don't want to hate on film. I really do want to appreciate every single one of them. But that's also one of the questions that I will get to after I answered it. After I answered my top 3. Oh, I already did actually.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'll give a special shout outs to Space Jam.
Yeah.
Yeah, Space Jam. I've watched that so many times, and I'll give another one to Batman and Robin. It's one of my, the one. Joel Schumacher.
with George Clooney.
Yeah, Joel Schumacher, George Clooney.
Yeah.
That's the one I watch almost every year, and
Where they have really sturdy nipples in their suits.
yeah,
for some
yeah,
reason.
and the most quotable movie of all time. Oh, that could be debated hard. But speaking of the most quotable movie of all time, I want to give a special shout out to my favorite superhero movie of all time, Spider-Man, by Sam Raimi.
Which one?
Sam Raimi, 2001. Oh no,
which
2002.
one?
Sorry.
The very first
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
That made me love everything geek culture. So that changed me. So all these movies that I've talked about so far, even Space Jam and Batman and Robin, they've all formed me to the person that I am today. Which is why I'm a piece of shit. No.
Fair enough. I was gonna follow that with, man, me too. But no, that's the part. I was gonna be like the geek part. I went to watch Spider-Man 1 in a full Spider-Man suit, and I didn't take that shit off for like 3 days.
You're
I was
on
so
the
hyped
Spider-Man
about it.
high, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
I love it.
absolutely.
I was just waiting. I'm like, oh, if I just wait now, Spider's gonna bite me, and I'm gonna get powers. Turns out it just got red a little bit.
Yeah.
But that was the vibe. You know what I mean? That was the vibe.
So those are all my honorable mentions and all of my favorite movies. But do you want to get on to another question before I get to mine? Because that was my first question.
No, I honestly, what I look forward to is I'm glad we discussed our favorite movies. What I would love to see the audience also jump in is tell us your favorite movies, and I guess I don't know if it's a favorite movie, but what I'm looking forward to or most happiest about are all the movies that we're going to discover together, and we're going to talk about. And it's not just going to be us; it's going to be other OverRice members as well, chiming in. And I'm also excited to dive in and talk about TV shows,
Oh,
anime,
TV shows is another thing.
animated movies,
Yeah.
different sorts of things, and just dive into them because exactly what you said about things having such a profound effect in so many different ways. You know, there's been movies that have stopped like like genocide and slavery. Literally, TV broadcasts have brought peace. When Pele decided to play, that broadcast brought a ceasefire to war. It was crazy. So the fact
Oh.
that media can be so changing in so many ways really excites me and makes me really happy. So I would just say that I'm really looking forward to the things we're going to talk about and how we're going to appreciate these different films.
Yeah.
So I'm really hyped. So if you're excited too, let us know there in the comment section below. Let us know what sort of things you want us to look at, read, and if you have your own opinions, talk with us in the comment section below because you're part of the conversation too. But Roy,
Yes.
talk to me. What is your next question?
All right. So this might be a little bit of a loaded bag of a question, but I want to make it a little bit more simple. We're talking about hatred of films, right? And talking about that type of stigma in a lot of people's heads, like, oh, I don't like horror movies, or I don't like this genre, this style of filmmaking. I want to I wanted to have a Filipino film on my top 10, but I haven't had it so far. I've watched a lot, and
Okay,
there's one conversation that's been going around in like film clubs, is that why do a lot of film snobs or film heads hate filmmaking, rather than celebrate it? Why don't we have this conversation about talking about like the lesser known ones, not the ones that are on showbiz? Because it's the same conversation with like, oh, I hate the music today. No, you don't. You just haven't
Yeah.
heard all of it. And
Yeah, I get you.
that's the thing. One of my favorite films of all time is called Metro Manila. That's the one that opened.
Shout out Jake Macabagal. I love you, my boy.
You butchered that name, and he's probably dead right now. It's probably turning on his grave. Probably snot rose like.
Jake
flowing.
Macabagal is exactly his pronunciation.
I
I
don't know.
don't know what these shots are, but okay.
I don't know if that was Tagalog or not, but I didn't hear English or Tagalog. I heard gibberish and snot going through your nose. There was like blood clots behind that voice when you said it. I just did hear it right. I was like, oh, maybe it's just me. You know what? Maybe it's just me. I didn't hear it right. Makapagal?
Fucking Roy.
Did you say it?
Yes, Macabagal, motherfucker.
I don't know if I heard it right.
And Jake.
Jake.
English.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry. Should I said Yake?
Yeah, oh,
To make
there it
more
is, man.
avant-garde.
That's what was wrong with it. Yake. But yeah, Jake
No, but
Macapagal.
really, shout out Jake,
Yeah.
you're a G.
One of the more like I wouldn't say I love everything about it. So I'll say this just to give you like a heads up. All of my films don't align with my favoritism for it. So for example, I consider Wizard of Oz to be the most perfect film of all time. But that's a
Okay.
different conversation. But
No,
it's,
that was very left field. I don't hate on it. It's
yeah,
very interesting.
but it's not top 50 for
the
me.
first film in color, but okay.
Yeah,
go
it's
on.
not top 50 for me. That's it.
Okay.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like if I give it a rating, it doesn't mean that I like it automatically. Like I can give you like Oppenheimer giving it like a 9.4 or something like that, but I won't necessarily put it in my top 5. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I get what you're saying. You can rate a film objectively to whatever its quality is,
And separate it.
Yet, just because something might be extremely high quality doesn't mean it's inherently to your personal taste.
Yes, absolutely. Because my personal tastes
I
are
get- okay,
Space
I'm
Jam and Batman and Robin. So I'm not gonna dog down someone's movie taste and say like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't like it because I didn't understand it better than you did. Like I'm not that type of guy. I would
got you.
love to have conversations about things that I don't understand. I want to be taught.
Yeah.
I want to be like I want to learn things from some people that like, you know what? I might not be seeing eye to eye with you, but I would love to learn about it. Like that's just how it should be anyways. Like leaving film, music and art form aside. That's just how I think we should like live. Oh wow, that was very deep. Should I have?
No, I like the passion in it,
Yeah.
and if you like the passion in it too, like, comment, subscribe, let the boys know.
This is the first episode. It's
not
so
that
heavy.
I want to. No,
Yeah.
you should. I think that's great, and you should take that stance. And I want to take the passion and maybe just redirect it a little bit back to what you were talking about in regards to lesser known Filipino films
Yes, yeah.
and your apparent appreciation of Metro Manila, which is I agree with you.
Yeah, I love that film. So
Dope ass film, amazing.
yeah, and that's one film that I kind of introduced my friends into. And so he was telling me about Tollywood or Tamil films, right? And
Yeah.
that scene, I think, is extremely good. There's so many good films in India that should be talked about, and
Yeah.
I think that we should also celebrate it as well. And
Yeah.
I think we should also make a list or have a we should have a conversation about Filipino filmmaking too, because I do believe that there are a lot of them here, and I feel like since we do
agree.
have this platform, and we are given this gift of talking about filmmaking, and that we are privileged enough to have this platform to be talking about things like this, I feel like we should also have use this voice to talk about Filipino filmmaking, because I do want to celebrate it as well as we do Hollywood.
Hell, bro, preaching to the choir. Not only could I not agree with you even more, but it'd be interesting enough.
Yeah.
If you want, I'm actually friends with Jake Makabagal.
That's
We
why
can
you give
bring
him a
on
shout
and-
out. That was free.
Yeah, no, he's a fucking G. Dog.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We can bring him on and we can talk about Metro Manila with him.
Oh yeah.
Secondly, have you watched Edna?
I'm gonna look it up. Give me a
It's a
second.
really amazing Filipino film.
I'll write it down.
Yeah, I'll text it to you.
Okay.
The basis is effectively editors maybe cut out this part. It might not be flow as well, but I'm just putting it in here so we can talk about it later. Her name is Edna. She's an OFW working, I don't know, at Singapore or like Dubai or something, sending money back home, and it's a typical story of how the family becomes ungrateful, whatnot. But then there's actual complexity to the character.
I've heard about
I'm not
this.
Gonna tell you, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ruin it for you. Ronnie Lazaro's in it. I can always get him on to talk about it. He's a fucking G. And then if you've ever watched Smaller and Smaller Circles, it's very interesting. I'm not going to give a comment about it. Watch it. I went to the premiere of it. It was really good. And I can get some of the producers on to talk about it. It's about a serial killer in the Philippines, which is interesting because they're not,
Like a true story?
so to speak.
Like based on a true story, I mean.
I don't remember. Regardless, it really doesn't matter if it is or isn't. It's more so just a treatment of the idea, which is really interesting. And then, if those interest you, we can also then delve into the more known Filipino films that are artistically well, like Henry Luna, Amigo.
Yes, Henry Luna. Yeah.
Have you watched Amigo?
Nope. No.
Another very good war film.
I watched Feng Shui.
So we could.
That's a cultural.
It is.
That's a cultural
100%
stamp.
is.
Yeah. I love that
Bro,
film.
it's close. It's almost like Gagam Boy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God,
It's-
Vong
it's up
Navarro.
there.
Yeah.
So my point being is, I agree. Okay, we can cut back in now. I 100% agree, and we can not only like break down these films in depth, maybe give them a score of like how many bowls of rice out of 5. Three rate a movie 3 bowls of rice out of 5. You know what I mean? or whatever else. We can do that, and I think it'd be really fun to shine a spotlight not only on that, but there's some amazing people even within our age. Shout out to Kani Villaflor. He's made films that have been Filipino filmmaker, director, young brother. He's made films that have won at Cannes, which has been amazing.
That's beautiful.
So I think that not only should we give whatever sort of spotlight to general Filipino filmmaking, but people who are doing things now and that are really trying amazing things. Also, shout out Yvonne Evangelista. She was just in a Netflix movie. The title is escaping me right now, but it came out during the pandemic, and I think it was one of the most interesting modern takes on like love stories, and I felt like it had some real substance to it of how like the online dating world was a bit of a trip.
Yeah.
I think people are trying amazing things, and I think we should try to understand and celebrate as much of it as we can.
Yeah, and I think
So
people our age, right? Oh my gosh, I'm
Yeah.
saying that as if we're getting old. We are, and now that we have the
Whoa.
technology and the
Relax.
no, we have the resources to make good films now, and
Yeah.
people are.
Oh, yeah.
We're open to the world of filmmaking outside of our own country, let alone Hollywood, and we
Yeah.
get to see a lot more like I would say like French films. I feel like a lot of film stuff
Of
talk
course
about
you
that
do,
now a
Roy.
lot.
Of course you want to.
No, I haven't watched much French, but I would love to. That's the thing. Like, if you guys have any suggestions for Filipino films for me to watch or for us to watch, I would love to know.
Or even just non-Hollywood films
Non-Hollywood films
that are
yeah.
cool.
And I'll
Because
yeah.
honestly, everyone's trying to do their bit. South Koreans making amazing
I'm watching
films.
a
Parasite
lot of
was
that.
dope.
Yeah.
Right? The Indians, Bollywood has been popping.
RRR.
For like
Right.
triple. Yeah, is that what is it actually called RRR?
I mean, it's globally known as RR.
I know that's. I know.
It stands for something.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, we're
See,
uncultured.
Yeah, I was about to say, but that's also the interesting thing is the more you dive into something else that's maybe you're unfamiliar with, the more you learn and you can take away, and that's something I love about it. Because like what's a really cool Indian film that I really love or Bollywood film? Have you watched Three Idiots
Oh my God.
with Amir Khan?
Top 20 favorite films of all
So
time.
he's a fucking G,
Yeah.
right? Just in general, and I think that was a really really good film. I thought it was like really well done. And I feel like there's just like a lot like you can either take away, relate, or whatnot, or even Indian based films that are Hollywood, like Life of Pi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot to discuss and I think celebrate, and I'm excited to jump into that with you. I don't know which one is going to be our next episode, but I'm hyped. I'm ready.
Yeah,
to
right.
do it,
Yeah. And we're gonna be wrapping
I'm
this up.
excited
Yeah.
to
That's just what I
Yeah.
wanted to do for today. I wanted to talk about your films. I wanted to get to know where your mind was at when it comes to films. You are particularly not a film snob. Would you not? You don't classify yourself as such, right? We just appreciate film.
No,
We
I'm-
both appreciate film,
Yeah,
and we like to
yeah.
celebrate
Yeah.
that art form, right? And so
Yeah.
our goal is just celebrate film, no matter
Yeah.
what it is, because I believe that we just don't have a lot of platforms talking about Filipino films too. I would love to get to talk about it. And my personal end game is to use the time and resources that I have to look for Batman versus Dracula, which is
I have it. I have a copy.
no, it's lost media. You're thinking about something else.
What the fuck are you talking about? I have a physical DVD of it.
No, you're talking about the animated film, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Filipino Batman versus Dracula.
Oh shit, bro! I thought you were. I'm like,
Like, imagine this is how I found it. Or imagine this is how the world finds out about it. It's one of the most sought after lost medias in the entire world.
okay.
And
Ooh,
yeah.
we should do an episode about lost medias. That would be lit.
sorry, but that's probably like one of my favorite things in the world, talking about lost media. We have found
Okay.
a lot of things from that community, like as of right now, but that's just another loaded bag. But yeah, we want to wrap this up talking about films, and we
Yeah.
will. This is a film club. We just don't have a name for it yet. We'll just call it like OFC.
OverRice Film Club.
OFC. Christ, even that sounds
I
fat.
don't think it should be OF anything. But if you have any ideas, leave them in the comment section below. Follow us on socials. Where podcasts can be found. And Roy, anything else to add to it?
No, that's it. Thank you for joining me for this episode. Yeah.
We will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
See you guys.